Hello everyone, John 12 back here again with another video. Now today, once again, I have another top 5 for you. And I did state that I personally wanted to continue making my YouTube videos. As I stated in my previous vlog, a lot of shit's been going down. It's just been very terrible for me, personally. Like, my mom's doing better and all, but, we know, you can't really, you know, pinpoint the exact time and moment that she's going to be officially normal again. So it's just been tough to see her go through basically not being able to do anything supposedly. So it's just been tough on that front, and not to mention this whole sickness I've developed ever since I've been poisoned. I know I sound dramatic when I put it in those terms, but it's what I believe. I believe it to be true. I know it's my own personal conspiracy theory, but I believe it. But moving off of that, in one of my prior top 5, I gave my personal top 5 on my favorite / best DC superheroes / villains, and seeing as how we're dangerously close to seeing Age of Ultron, which is one of the biggest Marvel films that I personally want to see other than X-Men. I cannot wait to fucking see it, and I decided, why not give my top 5 Marvel characters? Yes, DC is my love. I am a DC guy through and through. I mean, come on. No matter how cool other comic book companies get and how badass they are, they don't have the big guns like Batman. But other great companies have made numerous great stories and great characters, and Marvel is one of them, and they've been killing it in the box office. Comic book world, not so much, but they've definitely been keeping on their toes when it comes to the comic book world, where it's supposed to matter. But otherwise, it doesn't really matter. They're making money anyways. But at the end of the day, they have great characters just like DC and other comic book companies, and I decided, why not just give my top 5 on them? Now let's get straight up into this. I don't want to continue to ramble so much. And starting at number 5 has to go to the Incredible Hulk. The Incredible Hulk is just one of those characters that are just badass, just visually. I mean, most Marvel characters, it's hard to, dedicate anything to them, because it's hard to say oh well, they're a hero. Majority of all superheroes in the Marvel line are not really heroes per se, because they do a lot of they just do very strange things that consider themselves heroes. They destroy things, they destroy people's lives occasionally. They kill people. They believe in destruction. Like various other characters. But of course, seeing as how they've gone through so many years of just changes and changes, obviously they become more not only kid-friendly, but family-friendly, so everybody can get into them, so they don't really kill as much or do any darker things like they used to. But the Incredible Hulk is one of those characters, seeing as how he's a dude, when he gets angry, transforms into a monster and destroys things, to becoming a superhero on the Avengers. So obviously there's been a humongous change in the character. But I just love him overall. He's just one of those fan favorites, and plus, hell, he is badass in the Avengers, even though he's a crazy fuck, and he's a monster, technically. He's just a cool character. He's just an awesome badass. Just design-wise, just story-wise, just really cool, Bruce Banner is a great scientist, but when he gets angry, becomes the Hulk, and that's just cool. But anyways, moving off of that, sorry about that, but let's move off of that and go right into my number 4, which has to go to Iron Man. Iron Man is a really cool character. He's kind of like the Batman / Bruce Wayne of the Marvel world. The only difference probably only difference that makes them the complete opposite of each other, polar opposites, is obviously the suit. There's been variations of him through the years, of course. His suit changes all the time. He's always making advancements. And of course, every artist wants to create a new and updated suit. Of course, the Iron Man of today is way more badass than the Iron Man of before, seeing as how the Iron Man before was basically a rich dude who looked like Robert Downey Jr., ironically. wearing a gold-sleeved suit. It wasn't even real technology. It was bulky with gold sleeves. You know, not that I'm bashing the old version of Iron Man. It's just that it's one of those things that's just strange. And I personally love the newer modern age version. I don't really like the older versions of Iron Man. It's kind of just lame and stupid, and just one of those things where it's like why am I reading this? It's just crap. The newer version is way more badass. It obviously takes a lot more different and more realistic and modern takes on the character of Iron Man and Tony Stark, and obviously the movie versions have really fucking exploded that to new ages. But just amazing character, and just one of my personal favorites. But moving off of that, let's go to my number 3, which has to be not the leader and maybe not the most powerful of the X-Men line, but he is the most badass, and it has to be the Wolverine. It's just, Logan is just an awesome, badass, cool character. How can you not like Marvel and not like Wolverine? I mean, Wolverine is just awesome and badass. He's just cool. You know, he's just a dude who just fucks shit up, and he just has the coolest design. He has the coolest power, even though it doesn't really technically do anything. But his adamantium claws are just badass. Just snip. It's just badass. I love every version of Wolverine. I love the older versions. I really wish that the movie versions would consider changing the suit. I've never liked the X-Men costumes in the movies, but I just wish he would have his cowl. I just think he looks cooler with the cowl. I mean, I'm pretty sure everyone agrees. His design is just cool, and obviously he has a really cool history. I'm not going to try and go in depth with each character. I'm sorry about that. But overall, out of all the X-Men characters, other than the big guns, Wolverine is probably the only one who has stood the test of time. But not only that, has really had one of the best origin stories, and of course that wasn't adapted that well in film, but just did a great job at just keeping the lore and secrecy of a character like Logan, but just showing you guys that he has a really dark, fucked up past, and sadly he doesn't really even remember it. But moving off of that, let's move off of my number 3 and go to number 2, which has to go to SpiderMan. SpiderMan is a class favorite. He's just a badass character, and out of any comic book character, it's hard to say it now, or maybe it probably isn't. It probably still is appropriate to say it, but maybe not. I don't know. I guess it depends on you guys who consider it. But he's probably one of the only comic book characters in history to be really relatable. There's many characters that are like, oh yeah, he's relatable. No, he isn't, dude. He's a god, and he has a hammer, and he shoots lightning. That's not relatable. Spider-Man is relatable. He's a teenager. He's a nerd. He doesn't get along with anybody. He's getting bullied. He doesn't get the girl. And he's just the nerdiest of comic book characters. He's just a dude from Brooklyn who just can't get a date and is obsessed with this redhead. He doesn't get anywhere and has a terrible life. But he gets bitten by a radioactive spider and becomes Spider-Man. He develops these superhuman abilities and spider abilities and becomes Spider-Man, which is amazing. Keyword. But I mean, that's kind of relatable. I mean, excluding the whole I'm pretty sure if you get bitten by a radioactive spider, something's wrong going to happen. You're not going to develop powers, but something wrong's going to happen. But it's definitely relatable because he's a teenager. He's not good-looking, super-powered, Hugh Jackman or so to speak. But he's just nerdy Peter Parker who, when someone needs his help, just puts on the fucking mask and costume and swings right in to save the day. He's just a teenager who is just going by, and then just an accident just happens and completely changes his life for the better, obviously, because his history post-attack is just... things are going good for the guy. But essentially, Spider-Man is just one of those childhood favorites. I mean, when you're a kid and you're into Marvel, there's several things that you're gonna like right off the bat. X-Men, fucking Incredible Hulk, and motherfucking Spider-Man. It's the number one thing you're going to be like when you want to grow up. You want to be Spider-Man if you're into Marvel, that is. Spider-Man is just an awesome, cool character. He's just really cool. He has an amazing history, and once again, keyword. And he's just really fucking fun to read, to watch, to play on video games. It's just amazing. It's just great. He's just one of my personal favorites. But before I give you my number one, moving off number two, I love to give you several honorable mentions. Of course, I have to give it up to the rest of the X-Men, like Cyclops, Beast, Charles Xavier, Magneto. There's just plenty of great characters. The Fantastic Four, just great. You have just amazing characters in Marvel's line. They just are awesome, cool characters, and obviously they didn't make this cut, but I just love them. You know, he's Silver Surfer, just a badass. There's just awesome, great characters. But let's move off of that and go to my number one, which has to go to Captain America. Captain America is just my personal favorite. Out of all the characters that I grew up with, other than Spider-Man, he was the one that I always was like, God, he's just awesome. Just really cool. The shield, his look, it just, when I think Captain America, I think exactly the way everyone should think it. Just America. Just fucking badass, holding that flag up in front of the enemy and just like shooting guns, riding choppers, fucking blasting fucking people. Is just badass. And I just love the movies. I mean, Marvel kind of goes over the top with it, but the first Avenger and Winter Soldier, I think, were great representations of Captain America. A little too over the top, I would say, but nevertheless, not really a bad thing. But technically, it's just a badass, good representation of just a great comic book character. Captain America is just a badass, cool, awesome dude. I just love Steve Rogers, and plus he has a really cool history. He's also kind of relatable, just like Spider-Man. You know, he starts off as a really skinny, weak guy, and obviously wants to serve his country, and then goes to the army and joins into the super soldier program and just gets injected with the super soldier serum and becomes obviously the Steve Rogers that we know today, just Captain America. Just awesome, cool. And his design is just really badass. He just wears the American flag and just beats fucking Red Skull. It's just cool, just kicking Nazi ass, just badass. Of course, there's various versions, but personally, I love the older versions. I really love how he looks in the movies and the newer versions, but I personally like the old classic versions of Captain America. I think he looked cooler back then. But overall, I have to end it right here. I don't want to continue rambling, but I hope you guys enjoyed my top 5 Marvel heroes. I really enjoy Marvel. I mean, even though I'm a DC guy, once again, I still love Marvel. I still have a soft heart for Marvel. You know, it's just when it comes right down to it, Marvel doesn't have Batman. I just had to put it at that. But Marvel heroes are great. Obviously, I really encourage anybody to continue to read the comics. I know the movies are awesome, and you rather go and watch them, but read the comics. Go to a comic book store, support the industry, and move on. But that's it. I have to end it here, and basically my next top 5 will obviously be my personal top 5 favorite and best Marvel villains. So I hope you guys check that out, and I hope you enjoyed the prior top 5 videos, and I hope you enjoyed this one. And this has been John Trigger 12, and I hope you enjoyed.